Good morning, friends. This video is meant for everybody, and we are going to talk about verbal abuse. Friend, you may ask the question, what do you mean by verbal abuse? What is a verbal abuse? And why are we going to talk about verbal abuse? Well, friend, abuse has become very common. On social media, we often talk about people using verbal abuse. It can be a type of emotional abuse. It is when someone uses their words to assault somebody or dominate someone or ridicule or manipulate someone or degrade another person and negatively impact that person psychologically, making him behave like a fool or maintaining a power over another person or controlling someone. Friends, increasing verbal abuse can be seen among co-partners, can be seen among any kind of relationship, among wife and husband, among child and father, among any sort of relationship. It is increasingly becoming a social issue. Then the question arises, why do we really feel that someone is using verbal abuse, and what is the reason that people often use ridiculous remark with one another or try to dominate upon other people or try to ridicule some person? Actually, there are certain people who have the habit of dominating others. Some of the people, blame their own mistakes. They want to make someone responsible for that. So blaming is one of the reasons why verbal abuse these days has become very common. Second thing that often we find, that when a relationship is not going well, then often one of the co-partners start ridiculing and putting insulting remark or using some derogatory words in front of the other partner, and making her or him feel that she or he is inferior. This is a very dangerous kind of situation that the society is facing now. Verbal abuse cannot be a kind of insulting words only. It can be a silent means action also. If a person living in the same house is silent for more than 2 hours 3 hours and is not communicating with the other members of the family, either he is trying to create an atmosphere that he is not happy with the other members, or he is trying to show that he is superior to others. This is very dangerous. And nowadays what is happening, that verbal abuse in is increasingly becoming a family issue for many of the married couples. So in the beginning, in the first or second year of their marriage, they feel quite comfortable, but later on they start using some of the remarks and about their family members, using ridiculous remark about the other relatives in front of other members. So the partners or the particularly the female members are afraid of going with their partners in front of other people in some other family or at a marriage occasion, because they're always afraid that they never know what kind of remark they're going to put in front of the other people. So most of the people assume that if they were being virtually abused, they would know about it. After all, verbal abuse often involves yelling, putting down name, calling and belittling behavior. But there is more than anything. Verbal abuse can be more dangerous than physical abuse. Verbal abuse can occur in any type of relationship: romantic relationship, parent child relationship, family relationship, co worker relationship. Verbal abuse sometimes precedes physical abuse. Sometimes a person, who is in habit of using hands or trying to harass somebody by beating, starts first using verbal abuse and then he starts using physical abuse. So this is not always the case that verbal abuse can exist without physical abuse. The effect of verbal abuse can be just as damaging as physical abuse. We should always try to understand why this happened and how to avoid this. First of all, verbal abuse involves using words, calling name, bullying, demeaning, frightening somebody, intimidating someone, or trying to control someone. This could include over verbal abuse, and that can be very dangerous. Verbal abuse can also be much more subtle. Victims of verbal abuse often question whether or not what they are experiencing is truly abusive or not. Sometimes some of the highly mannered people, don't take it very seriously. They just think that it is just a joking, or it is a remark we should not feel. But that could be very dangerous if a person is trying all the time to put some remarks which are not pleasant. So how can we really avoid verbal abuse, and what are the main reason, and how can we really counter this? See, first of all, the problem is that we often are affected by the conversation or the talk of the people, or the remarks or chatting on social media. On social media, one person is trying to bullying this other person, or trying to tease the other person by using some verbal remarks, or verbal abusive words. So gradually the people who are in habit of chatting on cell phone, or chatting on internet or Twitter, and then they come across some derogatory words, and they become habitual of using the same words in their family, and with their family members. That becomes really very dangerous. So we should not try to encourage this kind of behavior with any one of our family members. We have to make the people understand that any kind of relationship is a pious relationship, and it has been made to comfort the people, comfort the partners, comfort the parent, children, comfort the family. So an amicable relationship can be developed by avoiding any sort of remark. We should not use any kind of word which is unpleasant to anybody in the family, even to our friend, even to our co-workers, because it can be a kind of verbal abuse, and can be as intoxicating as physical abuse. So friends, it is my request that wherever you are, whether you are in your family, whether you are in your office, or whether you are working with 10 or 20 of the employees, or 30 or 100 of the employees, try to use pleasant words. Don't try to make your co-workers feel inferior, and do not use any sort of remark which causes any sort of insult to the people, because that then becomes a verbal abuse, and it is as dangerous as physical abuse. Particularly the relationship of the wife and husband, particularly the relationship of the romantic couples, those who are either to be married, or they are already married, or they are the living partners in some big cities. They should not try to use derogatory remarks, or remarks which are insulting, or not try to control one another, because you see, it's a mutual relationship. The relationship is now growing only when you are living in a mannered way, when you are using sensitive words. So try to use sensitive words, try to behave in a gentle manly manner, and try to soothe your partner. Try to behave as if you are highly qualified, or you are highly sensitive to the feelings and emotions of the other people. Then only the family can be happy. And after all, any cultured person, what is the reflection of a cultured person? A cultured person is reflected by his behavior. The behavior of a person is shown and is reflected wherever he is there. His action, his words, his way of speaking, his voice, his marks or remarks matter a lot for other people. So if we really want to make somebody worship you, or if you really want to make somebody follow you, and just like an idol, then you have to really execute your behavior in such a way that it should not cause any sort of verbal abuse, or any sort of derogatory remark, or any sort of unpleasant remark to the other people in the family, or to the other people in the society. Most of us even just try to dominate, do not allow the other people to speak. agree, and sometimes we laugh or we say that, yes, you will say this, you are going to say this, we know what you are going to say. Always before that person speaks, you just interrupt. You know what you are going to say. Better you keep quiet. This is a kind of silent abuse, and that can be very, very dangerous. When you are living in a society, you are working in a, you know, corporate sector, you may be the boss of the company, doesn't matter, but your co-workers expect you to behave in a manner that you want them to behave. So friend, it is better that what you expect from others, you execute the same behavior with them. Then only you can avoid any sort of verbal abuse to them, and you can really make an amicable atmosphere around you. And that is what I wanted to say. Thank you. Have a nice day.